The stories start with a man who stood face to face with a very strong dragon. Surprisingly, he defeated the dragon with just a touch. This courageous man didn't stop there. He went on to defeat more dragons. But he felt that it wasn't enough, and he needed to become even stronger. Next, we see a boy named Ragna in a battle against a dragon. Unfortunately, Ragna was no match for the dragon's strength. Thankfully, a girl named Leo came to his rescue and skillfully defeated the dragon. Leo advised Ragna to be cautious during battles, and Ragna thanked her for saving him. Leo felt that Ragna's way of thanking her wasn't quite right. Ragna then patted Leo on the head and expressed his gratitude. We learn that dragons were a long-existing evil bloodline and humanity's greatest enemy. There are 2 known ways to kill a dragon. One involved freezing their blood with a special aura emitted by silver weapons, and the other required burning their bodies in sunlight. Returning to the story, Leo successfully freed the dragon heart and declared that their quest was complete. They then returned to the city of Ragna in the Lace Kingdom, where everyone recognized Leo by her facial scar. People gossiped that she was a prodigy who had defeated around 50 dragons on her own. They visited a guild, and Ragna explained that those who earned rewards for defeating dragons were called dragon hunters. Among all the hunters in the city, Leo was the one who had hunted the most dragons. Ragna believed that she had already become a top-class dragon hunter at the age of 12, and he knew she would only become stronger. The 2 friends then shared a meal, and Leo mentioned her desire to eat some meat. Ragna assured her that they would have meat for dinner. Ragna knew that people in town had nicknames for Leo, like the girl loved by the silver sword or the ambitious dragon hunter. He believed these were just words from jealous folks, and in his eyes, Leo was a true hero. Ragna took some pictures of Leo, explaining that he just wanted to keep a record of her growth. Leo humorously pointed out that it might seem a bit strange if he was doing this for anyone else, and they both shared a laugh. Suddenly, a man approached Ragna and commented that meals earned by relying on the prodigy must taste incredibly delicious. Leo was curious about this stranger, who introduced himself as Sykes Charlie and mentioned that his dragon hunting count was right below Leo's. Leo mentioned that she had never heard of Sykes, which made him feel sad. Sykes then wondered why a low-ranked person like him was teaming up with Leo, who was known as the prodigy. He thought he was just slowing her down and insulted Ragna by calling him a porter, someone who only carried Leo's stuff. This angered Leo, and she pinned Sykes down. Leo then told everyone that while they might want land, gold, and fame by defeating dragons, her only goal was to become stronger. She explained that this was the only thing on her mind when she first held a silver sword, which was why she became a hunter. She believed that among all creatures, dragons were the strongest, and that's why she wanted to hunt them all, even the dragon god himself. She asked if anyone wanted to join her in this quest and promised to share money, land, or fame with them. Nobody except Ragna agreed to join her on this journey, and Leo appreciated his loyalty. Leo suggested they return to their inn and get some sleep, but Ragna insisted that Leo should take a bath before bed. Leo found it troublesome and mentioned that she would only do if Ragna do all the scrubbing. Sykes couldn't believe that the 2 of them took baths together. The scene shifts to Leo sleeping peacefully. Meanwhile, Ragna goes out for practice and starts feeling like he doesn't have much talent as a dragon hunter. He believes that even if he trains for his whole life, he'll never come close to Leo's level. He worries that he might be eaten by a dragon before reaching her skill, but he's okay with that as long as he can be useful to Leo. While practicing, Ragna encounters the man he met earlier who warns him that he's going to lose everything. Then, Ragna witnesses a horrifying dream of a dragon attacking, and Leo getting killed. He wakes up, realizing it was just a nightmare. The story then takes us back to Leo, and Ragna returning to the guild after buying some meat. Leo questions why Ragna bought meat since they could order it at the guild cafeteria. Ragna explains that they don't put any vegetables in the food there. Leo confesses her dislike for vegetables, and Ragna offers to use the guild kitchen to cook something for Leo. She requests steak, and Ragna secretly plans to include some vegetables in the steak sauce. Next, we see Ragna putting Leo to bed after dinner. On February 23rd of the year 498, they go to the guild and notice there are no dragon-slaying quests available. Sykes wonders how this is possible, and Leo and Ragna take a break outside the guild. Leo thinks that dragons are rare at the moment, and Ragna agrees, suggesting that Leo should consider cutting her hair since it's getting longer. The scene changes to Ragna cutting Leo's hair, and he can't help but remember the image of Leo dying in his dream. That night, Ragna has the same dream again. We then jump to February 26th, and Ragna is busy with his training. He recalls the man's warning that he's going to lose everything. Later at the guild, hunters are talking about how dragons have been behaving strangely lately. They've all gathered in the east, and it's noted that Donapiro is located to the east of their city. Sykes mentions that Donapiro hasn't been attacked by dragons for the past 10 years. Leo adds that Donapiro reminds her of the cake shop silver chick they have there, and she suggests that if they go to that city to hunt dragons, they should also visit that shop. However, Ragna seems distracted and isn't really paying attention to Leo. He's lost in thought, wondering about the meaning of his dream. He questions whether the man he saw in the dream was just his imagination or something else entirely. Leo interrupts his thoughts and tells him to stop daydreaming. She notices that Ragna has dark circles under his eyes, and his hands look worn out. She wonders if he's been training harder than usual these past few days, and if something happened. Ragna then asks if there's anything he can do to help her, mentioning that he doesn't want to merely take care of her. He's eager to figure out how he can genuinely be of assistance to her. Leo responds by saying that when she first met Ragna, she believed he could become as strong as her one day. But Ragna thinks it's impossible, believing that he has no natural talent. Leo acknowledges that she knows Ragna doesn't seem to have much talent when it comes to hunting dragons. She mentions that, as a prodigy herself, she can pretty much guarantee this. However, she also trusts her prodigy intuition, which tells her that someday, Ragna will become stronger. She doesn't know when or what will trigger it, but she's excited about that potential. Leo expresses her commitment to protect Ragna until that day comes. Ragna then recalls his past. His parents were tragically eaten by dragons when he was just 3 years old. The relatives who took him in also suffered the same fate. He was eventually bought by a noble family, but their mansion was burned down by dragons. Due to these events, Ragna was bullied and accused of somehow attracting the dragons. Ragna remembers being attacked by dragons many times, but he always managed to survive. He felt like he had no place where he truly belonged. Leo enters Ragna's life and asks him if he'd like to hunt a dragon with her. She assures him that being linked to a dragon is not necessarily bad for a dragon hunter. Ragna hesitates, believing that his curse might affect her as well. Leo, however, disagrees, stating that it's not Ragna's fault that those people died. She tells him they perished because they were weak and that she's stronger than the dragons, so she won't die. Leo is determined to prove her strength to Ragna and invites him to come with her. Ragna accepts her offer, and together they face a dragon. When they encounter the dragon, Ragna gets scared and starts doubting if this was a wise decision. But to his surprise, Leo easily defeats the dragon. This display of strength convinces Ragna that Leo is indeed strong and won't meet the same fate as the others. Leo asks Ragna if he still thinks he's cursed, and he responds that he doesn't. He explains that now that Leo is with him, all he wants is to be by her side until a dragon eventually kills him. He doesn't wish for anything else. However, he then experiences the dream of Leo dying once more. The scene shifts to February 27, and we learn that Donapiro has fallen. Leo is puzzled about how this happened. Sykes explains that a swarm of dragons attacked the city as the sun went down, and there has been no communication since. The kingdom has issued an emergency quest to exterminate the dragon horde that attacked Donapiro. Leo notices that Ragna has a strange look on his face. Ragna tells Leo they should run away, but suddenly, everyone in the city feels tremors, and they see that the entire city is on fire. Ragna urges Leo to leave because he's worried she might die, but Leo reassures him that she won't. The city guards try to fight the dragons responsible for the fire, but they are overpowered. However, some dragon hunters manage to stop the dragons from advancing further. Then, a man covered in blood appears and confronts the hunters. They wonder if he's okay, but to their shock, the man kills the hunters. It turns out he's not a man but a humanoid dragon. Ragna notices the humanoid dragon and fears that it's the one who will kill Leo. Sykes arrives to face the humanoid dragon and wonders why there's such a powerful dragon here. His team tries to attack it, but they are no match, and the dragon attempts to kill Sykes. Ragna tries to help by attacking from behind, but it doesn't seem to affect the superior dragon. The dragon uses a fire attack that sends Ragna flying into the river, and Leo instructs Sykes to rescue Ragna. She then faces off against the superior dragon herself. Leo was extremely angry that the dragon had hurt Ragna. She made a promise to herself that she would kill this dragon. Meanwhile, as Ragna sank deeper into the river, he also delved deeper into his vision. After losing Leo, he began a determined quest for revenge, vowing to hunt down every last dragon until they were extinct. He fought fiercely, became more powerful, and pushed his training to the maximum. However, no matter how much he fought and trained, it never seemed enough. He gained new companions during battles, but unfortunately, he lost them too. Despite a life filled with loss, he kept fighting, pushing himself to the limit and beyond. In his vision, the man from before appeared again, and Ragna realized this was his future self. Future Ragna was disgusted with present Ragna for idolizing a little girl as his hero and relying on her. He believed that if Leo truly mattered to him, he should have become stronger than everyone else to protect her. Future Ragna was furious because, now being incredibly strong, he could stand against dragon monarchs and protect everything he lost. But there was nothing left for him to protect. He had learned that being strong without anyone to protect was pointless. Ragna asked his future self to give him that power, and his future self agreed. He stabbed Ragna with a sword, and Ragna's body filled with power. Back in the ongoing fight, the man praised Leo for her determination. Leo wondered if he was the dragon god, but he became furious at the comparison. He introduced himself as Grimwell, the 10th seed of the Blood of the Wing, the lowest rank among the superior dragons according to what humans called them. Grimwell then explained that their city and kingdom were going to be destroyed. The dragon god enjoyed the offerings humans made, particularly the confections from a shop in Dona, Peru. However, a few days ago, the shop was robbed and went out of business. The dragon god was saddened, so he ordered his men to destroy the kingdom in response. Grimwell takes pleasure in the fact that the fate of human nations can be decided by their god on a mere whim. He believes humans are foolish for thinking this was a real battle, and explains that the dragon army didn't even take them seriously. He proudly declares that dragon hunters pose no threat to their bloodline. He tells Leo that they are insignificant, and prepares for her impending demise. However, something suddenly interrupts Grimwell. At first, he wonders if it's an illusion, but he quickly realizes that something is approaching. Meanwhile, Ragna discards his old armor, and the people around him are speechless as the air becomes shrouded in fog, and the dragons start freezing. Ragna reflects on how, after deciding to exterminate dragons, he relentlessly pursued that goal. He faced countless near-death experiences, but managed to survive each time. He fought tirelessly for 10 years, gradually feeling a connection between himself and his silver sword. It was a strange but empowering experience that didn't hinder his dragon hunting. After 5 years, he was entirely fused with his silver sword, turning his body into a weapon radiating silvery. 3 years later, he developed a technique to enhance his body's silverine. 4 years after that, he learned how to control silverine at will. After an additional 10 years, he surpassed the limits of human capability and mastered the ultimate battle technique, the pinnacle of dragon annihilation, the silverine battle arts. Ragna has gained incredible power, and just his presence can freeze dragons. He confronts Grimwald, who is stunned as he begins to freeze. Grimwald recognizes the feeling, the same sensation he has towards the dragon monarchs, the leaders chosen by their god. It's a mix of terror and awe toward beings with ultimate power. Grimwald refuses to fear a human and reveals his true form, the form where his ultimate power is unleashed. Unfortunately for him, Ragna doesn't care and turns Grimwald into a giant ice statue with a single touch. Then, with a flick of his finger, Ragna destroys Grimwald. Leo calls out to Ragna, and he can't contain his emotions at seeing her again. Leo is still alive, and she assumes that Ragna must have worked really hard to become so strong. However, Ragna explains that he didn't, and the one who did all the hard work isn't there anymore. Ragna knows his life story and how much he missed Leo. Leo is grateful and thanks Ragna. Elsewhere, a woman laughs at future Ragna for dying while standing up. She had warned him that there was a price to be paid. She explains that his past self, the one taking on that burden, won't live long either. However, she notices that future Ragna has a sentimental look on his face, a rare sight without his usual frown. She points out that everything now depends on the past, and their hopes of creating a world without dragons rely entirely on their past selves. We then learn that not everything is good in the world. On that day, 7 of Les's cities were attacked, and 6 of them fell, including the capital. On the very same day, the Reaper of Dragonkind was born. The next day, they noticed that all the dragons have disappeared, and the fires have gone out. However, half of the city has been destroyed, and many people have been hurt. Ragna is relieved to see that Leo is still alive. Sykes arrives and reminds them to be good guests in his home since their house was burned down. Ragna then suggests that it's best for them to leave the country. The dragon god demanded that their kingdom be destroyed, and since dragons follow their god's orders strictly, they won't chase them if they cross the border. Luckily, their city is near the border, and Ragna thinks they should move quickly. However, Sykes interrupts him. He points out that the Ragna he knows has no talent, skills, or much intelligence. He calls him a parasitic nobody, and can't understand what happened the night before. He demands an answer but is surprised when Ragna falls asleep. Leo explains that Ragna's newfound power is likely the result of intense training when she wasn't watching. However, she realizes that it's draining him and making him unstable. She believes that he still needs her. While Ragna sleeps, Leo reassures him that she is still there. Suddenly, the ground begins to shake, and everyone is shocked to see that the city seems to be under attack by the forest itself. Scene changes and we see it's a powerful opponent, and it's the same woman from the future. She's ready and asks Ragna to come forward so that their paths can finally cross. This bring an end to our episode. If you enjoyed it, then don't forget to subscribe our channel and also check out our other videos.